This is a prisoner of war in Vietnam, was brought in front of a camera to tell people that they were being treated really well.
I get adequate food and adequate clothing and medical care when I require it.
What's he doing with his eyes here?
How do you think about the so-called definite law?
He's blinking Morse code for torture. Now take a look at this video that I found here. This is detainees at an immigration center in Texas spelling out SOS to the world. SOS. Here's where it starts right here. Save our souls from having to return to our leftist countries. Let us come here so we can quickly vote for all the leftist candidates. Undocumented immigrants can't vote in federal elections. What are you talking about? It takes 7 years before they can vote. 7 years of going through the process to become a United States citizen. Please let us do this so we can vote before learning the language, the customs, before understanding the Constitution. Mind you, critical soul, you have never read it either, and therefore ruin your country the way our people ruined our own, so one day you too can stand and make the SOS sign while all wonder what the hell happened. Sending someone back to their home country does not destroy their soul. Voting to take the wealth that was hard-earned by others and taking it into our possession by legal force, that destroys their soul. What a psychotic thing to say. What is broken with these people? What broke in their minds that this is how they react to this now? What the fuck? You know what? I'm in favor of deporting people who are criminals back to their previous, their home of origin, who have broken laws here in the United States. After they've served time, of course, because I don't want them to be deported and then have free reign. They get to get out and walk the streets or whatever. They need to serve time for the crimes they've committed here, right? But what's happening right now is not deportation. They're renditioning them to concentration camps in Guantanamo Bay and in El Salvador. And aside from that, the people that they're renditioning have no criminal records. No records at all. They're just normal human beings. They've never broken any laws, nothing. We have hard evidence of people who have not committed a single crime, did nothing wrong. They were even documented in the United States. Permanent residents, or they were going through the asylum process, which is a legal, documented process. We have evidence that those people are in the concentration camp in El Salvador. But what these people are doing here, these SOS people, this is a clear indication that something really, really fucking disturbing is happening in this Texas immigration center. It does not get more disturbing than this. And as somebody says in the comments of this video, people wondered how others could have possibly cheered for Jews to go to concentration camps. We're watching it now. We're watching this happen. We're watching it play out. This is how. Jews were the immigrants. They were called aliens in Germany, quote unquote. They said they need to make Germany great again. They need to make it Germany for Germans. Germany first. Pure-blooded Germans should live in Germany, not immigrants. That's what it was about. And it happened in exactly this same way. If somebody's throwing up an SOS sign, as a group, shouldn't we be looking into it at least? Instead of saying on Reddit, comparing this to what happened to Jews is a pretty big leap, dude, and pretty disrespectful to those who suffered during the Holocaust. How's it a leap? What's the leap? It's identical in every single way to what happened to the Jews in 1933 to 1935 when they started rounding them up in the first place. There is no leap here. Trump administration, SOS is a pseudonym for MS-13. Okay, yeah. By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there. LOL. This guy says LOL in response to SOS. Please save us from the consequences of our actions. What actions? These people are, by and large, legal immigrants. There are no crimes. Ready, aim. This dude wants to kill them all. If this is not identical to what happened in Germany, I don't know what is. I honestly did not expect the U.S. population to be so ready to literally round people up and murder them en masse. I thought that there was a line somewhere in here, but there doesn't appear to be. Who gives a fuck, says this person. Lol, criminals. Sounds like they want to go back to the countries they came from and not get held in an immigration center. I agree. Send them back. Why are we holding them? I mean, you obviously have to hold them temporarily before they can be sent anywhere, but they're being sent to concentration camps. They're not being sent to their home countries. And even so, their home countries are dangerous. That's why they left, because they're going to get fucking killed if they stay there. Were there victims spelling out SOS too? What fucking victims? What victims? Point to them. Which ones have victims on their hands? You know why I say that? You know why I say which victims? Because we have no fucking clue, because they haven't had due process. We haven't sent them through the court system. We have no idea if there even are victims. We don't know if they've committed crimes, because they're not being given due process. And now we have imagery of these people, no evidence of crimes or anything, throwing up SOS signs. What is wrong with Trump supporters? They are broken inside. I used to feel that the way that we were going to dig our way out of this was to go person to person on a family basis and on a church basis and talk to our family members who are Trump supporters and try to convince them what they're doing is wrong and show them all this wrong stuff that's happened throughout society and everything. But I think I don't think that's the solution anymore. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Watching people literally root for them to be shot down for throwing up an SOS sign, rooting for it to literally become a death camp. I think we're going to have to do what Germany did, or, well, what the United States did after World War II, denazification efforts. I don't see a way out of this without denazifying, fully denazifying. That would mean things like finding the most extreme people and sending them through courts to determine their level of culpability in this regime. How responsible were they for this? Was their membership in MAGA nominal? Were they just doing it to get along and not be attacked? Release them. Were they just members, but they weren't really that politically active generally, but they still kind of held some of those beliefs? Release them. Were they actively going around on Reddit encouraging people to be shot because they don't like them? They should be charged with crimes against humanity. Were they directly involved in the MAGA movement, not just commenting on Reddit, but canvassing at houses, knocking on doors, volunteering, turning people in prison for crimes against humanity? Were they part of the actual paid structure of the party where they're Trump's inner circle or whatever? Crimes against humanity. I don't believe we're going to be able to get out of this any other way than to charge people with crimes against humanity for the vile shit that they are doing now, for the vile things that they're supporting. Sounds like they want to go back to the countries they came from. They're the type of people to believe convicts are innocent because they say so. Consequences have actions. More news at 11. Please save us from our actions. Criminals want to be let out of prison. Wow, breaking news over here. They're not criminals. It's an immigration center. Don't illegally break and enter then. That's not what happened. Shows how brain dead and tone deaf people are. Good chance none of these guys were given a trial, process, anything. The exact things founding fathers fought for because of the cruelty of the British Empire. Recently, I'm sure you saw in the news of a man who was here perfectly legally through asylum, but got picked up anyway and sent away. Even the Trump administration admitted it was a mistake, but they didn't do anything. I wonder how these men got placed in that prison. They could be citizens, residents, naturalized men. Deportations happen all the time, a lot under Biden. But those were given trials. These were not. I'm going to pick out Hitler's regime because it's a good example of a fascist regime, which is what we are in right now, a fascist takeover. So, regarding fascist takeovers, the most famous one to take place, I guess, Hitler refused to let go when it was obvious. He tried to take over Europe, and when he failed, Russia and the United States and the UK and everybody, they started pushing in on Germany. And it was going to destroy Germany. And he could see that happening. He could see it coming. But what did he do? Did Hitler, like, create a plan to guide the economy to a slow descent so it could be rebuilt? No, he didn't. He let it crash into the ground and let everybody die in the process. You know why? Because Hitler said, quote unquote, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm paraphrasing here. It doesn't matter what happens to Germany when I die. All of the good Aryan people died in the war. The only people left are weaklings. When Russia and the United States pushed inward, Russia from the east, the United States from the west, they claimed territories. Russia took Berlin. They took the Führerbunker before the United States reached the region. And as Russia moved through the streets, they committed absolute atrocities as a punishment against the German people for what they had been put through. I don't know how else to say it, so I'm just gonna say it. Raping became, like, assumed, a standard thing. Between 7 and 90 years old, you could expect that. There's a reason I'm going here, by the way. I'll get there. It became so common that there's a new saying that formed. Better a rusky on the belly than a yank on the head. Basically means better that than being blown up by a bomb. And, you know, the ones that disagreed with it, they weren't there anymore to voice their opinion. That is what we have to look forward to if we continue down this fascist pit that we're going down. They say every human rights abuse that a country commits always finds its way back home. And we're seeing that now. I just hope that the world doesn't have to, like, team up against us like they did in Germany for us to learn not to do that anymore. Either way, I can tell you this. If they send me through one of those courts to determine my level of compliance, I will not be found wanting. They will see exactly how I felt if I'm still around by the end of this. I mean, I know it may sound like I'm being hyperbolic. I am not. This is real, okay? I studied Nazi Germany. I wrote a book about it. This is fucking real. Anyway, yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's just some disturbing shit.